Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Qmenera, an Experience Points podcast. We're an all-queer cast Numenera podcast. I'm Kenny, the cast member who plays the lovable and simple lad Hillian. If you love our show, we hope you'll rate us and review us on iTunes or wherever you consume your podcasts. Every review makes Kelric, the GM and producer's eyes, sparkle, and helps new listeners to find us. We don't pay to advertise any of the podcasts on the Experience Points network, so we hope you'll recommend us to your friends and just about anyone. Did you know that we had a Patreon? We are grateful to everyone who's already become a patron. You keep our mics on and our dice rolling. We've got some great rewards, so check them out at patreon.com/experiencepoints.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Qmenera. I am Kelric. My pronouns are he, him, and this is my wonderful all-queer cast. Please introduce yourself, starting with Jess.
Hi, I'm Jess. My pronouns are she, her, and I play Tiyune, a mechanical nano who rides the lightning, and her pronouns are also she, her.
Hi, my name is Aaron. My pronouns are they, them, and I play Railu, a graceful glaive who speaks with a silver tongue, and they also use they, them pronouns.
Hi, my name is Kenny. My pronouns are he, they, and I play Hillian Jossa, oh my gosh, it's right in front of me, an earnest Jack who howls at the moon. I went blink and I'm like, who am I playing? Who am I today?
Yeah, so you get inside, and it's, as I said, now you can see it's a huge city in here that is like nothing you've ever seen before. These trees are just taller than anything you've ever experienced, and the risers are constantly going all over the city, and you can tell that the trees are segmented into just multiple levels, and those levels have like some built stairs that wrap around trees that don't have handrails. They're just open stairs, so hope you don't fall. There are those ladders that sort of bend and sway with the trees, and you can see as you look up higher that the trees are moving in this wind a whole lot more than you might anticipate. And so, it could be a little intimidating if heights are not your thing, but those ladders are much more common because their flexibility makes it to where they go with the flow much more easily. And you just see people moving around, and it looks very fluid. It's a very interesting travel method to get around, but everything seems to work fine. No one's fallen to their death. It looks like a standard city where it's actually very peaceful. On the lower floors, you see the roots are actually really high in several areas. So in the front, they're like 3 stories tall before you actually get to the trees. And there are like stairs built into the roots that lead up that get you to the first riser level. And then as you look around, some of them are much shorter, like single story homes, and then, ways up and around into the canopy. There's a few actually constructed buildings along where the entryway wall is and stuff. And if you look around, you can see and smell animal pens off to your right, and to your left you just see some buildings that are put up. One looks like at the guard station, and where all the guards start their day and what have you. And yeah, what are you doing?
I think we need to go and pen the Anines, right?
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
All right, do you two think you can climb these, or do you two want to go pen the Anines while I go find where we need to go? What are your thoughts?
I want to stick together.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to split up. This entire town has been built with these, so I feel like even if we struggle, they're meant for people to climb, so it should be fine. Let's pen the Anines, which hopefully won't take long, and then we'll all go to the northeast section to look for Gesten.
All right, let's go.
So Ephremon is a big city and it's a remote city, so the prices are actually a little higher. Um, you find out that lodging on the mid zone is roughly 10 to 100 shins a day. If you go higher up, it is only 2 to 5 shins a day, and the places are a little more rough. So the higher you go in the trees, because there's more sway, there's more danger, the likelihood of something happening is perhaps a little bit more dangerous likely. So the prices there are between 2 and 5. And if you pay 5 shins a day for lodging there, it's reasonable. If you pay 10 shins at the mid zone, it's a pretty decent quality place. The 100 shins a day, I think you get the idea. For lodging all 3 of your anines for every night is 1 shin. Just to lodge them, it's another shin to feed them. So 2 shins a day, all 3 of them taken care of. Who is going to keep track of that?
I can.
Cool. So just keep a note of it, and we're not going to be super crazy about shins, but just keep a note, and I'll probably ask you every 15th session, how much have you spent? Just checking. Do I need to give you more shins? It's a thing. Cool. So you have parked your anines, you have gotten them set up to be fed, you have learned about the cost of lodging. What are you doing?
I think we climb to the midsection. If I remember correctly, it's the northeast section of the middle area.
That sounds about right. So yes, you are heading off to find Gesten. And I'd like some dexterity checks. Just some real quick speed checks. If I can get one from each of you, let's see how you do at navigating the varied systems of travel within Ephremon. All right, Tiyune with a 16, Hillian with a 12,
okay,
and Railu with a 15. All 3 of you actually do just fine. Hillian struggles the most because they're tied to Tiyune and because they're easily distracted. And let's just be honest, if everything here is so unique to your experience that there's a lot here to draw Hillian's attention.
I think Hillian is talking about the accommodation, but we should stay at the top level. I think the swaying and the creaking would be very soothing.
Oh, Hillian, didn't you know we're actually staying outside tonight? We know how much you love the forest sounds when you sleep.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
Plus, you get to pitch a tent again. Isn't that exciting? We know how much you love pitching your tent.
Okay, cool.
I wouldn't put that in the top 10 list of the things I like to do, but I do it out of necessity.
A moment of clarity for Hillian. I love that.
Don't we?
I have no idea what that word soup was, but cool. Sure, you make it to the mid-level, and you look around, and what's really cool is you see that the way the mid-level is set up is you come off the riser that you were on, you step out onto this broad set of planking, and it's like someone's outdoor deck. If that outdoor deck were as wide as I-5, like it's gigantic. It's like they have filled in all of the space between all of the trees with this decking so that it is a solid just flooring.
Concourse.
Yeah, but what's cool is as the tree moves, you can see all of the planks sort of wavering and bending, and you realize that they have found a way to build this such that the trees are not going to break up what they have built. It's really cool. And then you see that there are ladders or stairs that sort of wrap around trees, that then there are homes built in. And those homes that are built in are either like little nests that are outside of the tree, almost like a wasp nest sort of feel that's on the side, but it's a human-sized home. And there are others where they've actually carved into the tree to build their home, and so you have no idea, like a squirrel's den, where it's this one entryway, and then you have no idea how many floors within that tree there are that they live in, but it's a very cool, different set of styles of homes. And then you see that there are all different kinds of beings who live here. Like there are some, there's a family of red-skinned with like a fin on the top of their head, people who are just walking, and it's a triad of 3 adults and some kids, and they're just walking along to go wherever they're heading to. And it's got a very Sunday in the park feel, as people are just sort of walking around doing their business, but everything is very relaxed, and you can tell everyone just feels very safe and comfortable. And so, yeah, you come out onto this bucolic visage of a raised village in the forest that is something unlike anything you've seen before.
I have a really good feeling none of us are going to know where we're going, so I'm just going to stop a passerby and go, "Oh, excuse me, can you tell us where the Aeon priesthood resides?"
Give me an int roll. You don't have to add anything, just a quick int roll. Oh,
how about a 20?
A nat 20. Yes, I do. It's my home, and this person has, like, they have the normal, like, sort of going out look of anyone else here, where it's real casual, but they do have a chain around their neck, and then they have a probably about 3-inch wide mark of office as an Aeon priest, but you missed it when you first reached out because you were a little overwhelmed. And they do have a jacket, so the jacket had partially covered it, but you basically found one of the Aeon priests in the area, and so absolutely.
Oh, excuse me, I didn't see your symbol. We are also from the priesthood, and we are looking for Gesten.
Oh, well, all right, that's me. And who are you?
I'm gonna let Tiyune I wave to Tiyune.
You just rolled a nat 20 on this. You're good.
Okay, perfect.
Oh.
Well, I'm okay with my history. We don't know that. Oh, hello. We were actually sent to find you by
Hegrprud.
We met him along the road, and he told us to come and find you.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. What a surprise. How lovely. Well, why don't you come with me to my home? Can I see your priesthood markings? You should all have some token that you are from the priesthood. Like Hegrprud had a symbol on himself, and now this priest does. You all would have almost like, it can be a coin with the priesthood symbol stamped on it. It can be that's like on a charm bracelet or a necklace or something. You would have some piece of jewelry on you that would mark you as part of the priesthood.
Railu will pull a bracelet with a coin out of their pocket to show.
Awesome. So put that in your inventory. Just create an inventory item. And what is Hillian's?
He's gonna say Hillian has a T-shirt. No. Yeah, I think Hillian has an amulet.
Okay. And Tiyune?
Tiyune has she will lift her arm, and in one of the sort of like metal ports of her arm, she sort of like pokes it, and it kind of like a little plug comes out that has the symbol on it, but when it's like plugged into her arm, you can't see it. So she has to actually like remove it to show it.
Beautiful. I love that. Okay. So Gesten starts leading you off to their home in the city of Ephremon. And why did my husband send you to find me?
We met him along the way. We were deployed to... I swear I have these notes.
The Jirawan.
Thank you. God, I have that in notes. We were deployed to a Jirawan, and we were coming here to update the priesthood on the status of the mission. He met us because he was headed to a Jirawan.
Well, yeah, Jordan's his usual first stop when he leaves, just to check on the people there. You know, they it's a small village and it's pretty safe, but they sometimes have injuries, and you know, him being a Hillian priest, he really likes to make sure that everyone's okay. So he does check in. This is his first time out in about I think 9 months heading in that direction. So it's been a while. So I'm sure they'll be relieved to see him again.
Knowledge question. I thought that he had never been to that place before, or is that just what he told us, or am I misremembering?
He'd been there, and he said that he did circuits of the area. He just hadn't been in a while.
Gotcha. Okay, I thought he had like not been there before. Okay, and like I was thinking like maybe he lied to us, or I'm misremembering. Okay.
I think it was that he hadn't been there since the transformation had happened.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, but he did know about the transformation before, right? Like he had mentioned it to us, like something I heard something has happened to them.
Yeah, he heard something had happened, but he didn't know the exact details. Just couldn't make it out there earlier because his circuit was taking him elsewhere.
Yeah, he had mentioned that he hadn't been there in a while. Have you heard about what's happened to the village?
I haven't gotten much detail. No one really has headed that way recently, and we haven't. There was a caravan that came in a while, but I didn't really talk to anyone, so I don't know. I usually stay here and help direct the other priests to head out on their next assignments. But
well, we can get.
Sure, he is capable. He's a wonderful man, and he is very capable as a healer.
Well, we can get into the more official priesthood business once we reach where you live. But that's part of the reason that we did come here, was to hope you would either have another assignment or could send off to have a pickup.
Oh, yeah, I can absolutely do that. I do have a far speaker machine, so we're fine. So tell me about yourselves.
Well, I'm Railu. This was actually one of the first missions I've been on for the priesthood, so I'm so happy to have such a great receiving here. And I'm a performer by trade, and I love this town that you live in.
Wonderful. What kind of performance do you do?
Weapons dancing mostly. All sorts of dancing. Take out the weapons, it's the same thing. But
oh, yeah, that's really popular on the higher levels.
That's good to know. Maybe I could put on a show sometime.
Yeah, it's being able to do it in the swaying trees that makes people so excited about it. And the rest of you?
Oh, I'm Hillian. I just been going along and finding really cool things, and we found some really cool Oh, actually, your husband gave us some really good mushrooms. Do you have any more mushrooms?
Well, I stock his stuff, so I'm certain I do.
Well, if you wouldn't mind, I would love to have some mushrooms.
Well, we'll just check our stores when we get back to the lodge.
Okay.
I think we can make that happen for you.
Thanks.
And you?
I'm Tiyune.
I see. And Tiyune, why are you tied to your friend? That's a strange way to travel, if you don't.
I'd love to tell you all about it somewhere in private.
All right. And they lead you over to their home, which has the symbol of the Aeon Priest on it. And it is one of the homes that's almost like a wasp nest that's built outside. So it's about 2 stories tall, and it's got the stairs that are built onto the outside of the tree that sort of curve around and take you right to the door, and then lock the door, and they invite you in. They do point off to the side of the door, and you can see that there's a set of little cubbies for shoes to go in, and I would be grateful if you could take your shoes off when you come in. It's just kind of how we like our house to stay clean. You see them take their shoes off and put them off to the side and continue in. Are you all polite or not?
Tiyune doesn't, but it takes a minute because her boots are like they've got metal bits even on the outside, and it's because like part of it actually like connects to her like ankle and foot. So she'll take them off, but she looks very annoyed about it because it's a process.
It comes out. There's machines where. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
You have to use a drill to unscrew stuff to get it off. This is gonna take forever to get back on. Cool. And the other two, you just do it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I got my laced up boots, but it takes me less time.
Hillian has slip-ons, so yeah, he just takes them all.
Makes perfect sense. All right, so y'all come in, and Gesten is a little shorter than... Who's the shortest one of you?
Ironically, probably Hillian.
Okay, so probably about 2 inches shorter than Hillian is, and older looking. They have this sort of yellowish tan colored skin and brown eyes, and some laugh line wrinkles around the side of their eyes. A very just jovial person. You can definitely see, based on your experience with Gesten's or Hegrprud's interactions with you, where you could tell that they were a kind person. Like, this person is a really good match for them. Where Hegrprud is very kind and serene, this person is more jovial, but also you can tell that they have this ability to try and connect with other people. You can definitely see why they're housed here as the main point of contact, because this is someone who puts people at ease just by being themselves. So this is about as private as we're gonna get, because they've asked you to lock the door. They did not lock the door on you. They just said, please lock the door when you come in, to give you a sense of control. They feel like that's something that is, based on the conversation, that Tiyune is going to really need to be able to come out of their shell. And so this person, they have this ability to read people fairly well. And so they're giving you the control in that situation. What were you not comfortable saying out in public about this? And they're like, the two of you, what is this?
Well, I will tell you, I will answer your questions, but I'd like it if first you could get on your far speaker machine and contact the Aeon Priesthood, because before anything else, I need an ETA for when we'll be leaving here.
Well, very well. If I can have your reports, I will get on the far speaker and transmit them, and then once the main office has checked on your reports, then they'll send us back your next instructions. And they put their hands out for their reports. And
did we know we had the right reports? Do we have reports ready?
Hillian has a bunch of reports on bark slivers.
I would have a very almost like coded report, or maybe coded is not the right word, maybe vague, that says we went to Adridawan, we found a dangerous piece of Numenera and attempted to remove it from the town. A different Aeon priest stole it from us and returned it to the town. The Adridawan villagers attempted to murder us, but we escaped. We failed in our mission of getting them to like the priesthood. So not enough details for it to be incredibly useful, but enough that when the Aeon priesthood gets it, they know that we're not going back to Adridawan.
And would Railu actually have it, or would Railu have said, Tiyune's got it covered?
Railu pulls out whatever we wrote on, and it's there's smudge marks from where there's erasures where they fell asleep writing it. There's some parts you could tell there was something written, and then canon, even though the person won't know this, Tiyune made him erase it. They were like, you can't put that in there. Tiyune triple checked this. It's a disaster, but it's written. It's written to Tiyune code.
And like, yeah, Hillian's is on a bunch of thin bark that they've pulled off of various trees, and it's really. And we went and I ate, and there's also liberal use of onomatopoeia.
Of course there is. He's gonna look at this, and he's gonna say, "Okay, well, I am happy to send these off for you. However, this is not how reports are written, and the three of you should know that. Since you don't, let me pull out an example, and you can choose to rewrite this, or I can send this off. The office will read them, and then they will tell me to have you rewrite them."
Sure, I'll rewrite it. Give me another sheet of paper.
Oh, yeah, and he's got everything handy, and as he's handing it to you, he says, "Look, I know my husband very well, and..."
Tiyune's already writing, and it says, "Adrenawad mission failed. Get us out of here," and hands it back to him.
"Yeah, Miss Tiyune, I am sure this will work out exactly as you want. I'm not going to argue. I will apologize for my husband's behavior. He is headstrong, and this is not the first time. I'm sure it won't be the last."
I think it might be.
And then he turns to Railu and he says, "Do you need paper?"
Real quick, we know we're like the Z team of the Aeon Priest, right? Like, they didn't care that much about this mission if they sent us. Do we know this?
I mean, yeah, because I feel like you and I are basically, like, you were coerced into joining the priesthood. Tiyune is here, like, unwillingly, and Hillian just sort of got, like, added in at random because we met him, and we're like, well, if you're going to travel with us, I guess you should technically be a part of it. So, like, yeah, I think that we probably know we're not, like, we mean nothing to the Aeon priesthood. They send us out to the stuff that they do not care about or, like, don't have time for. At least that would be Tiyune's perception of it, is that, like, she knows none of us are really here by choice.
You know that you're not the A team they send out because your driver told you that, because they're a dick.
Whispered.
Yeah, but they don't have missions that they're like, it's completely irrelevant. Like, this was a test mission to see how you all would do and what they can expect from you, and whether they can, you know, put you on more interesting missions, or if, I mean, this one turned out to be a lot more interesting, I think, than they anticipated, and so be it. But anyway, yeah, he'll take the reports from you all, and Tiyune, being as off-putting as Tiyune is, he's going to give you space.
Oh, I was going to say, I would have taken the option to, if he has an example, it would have been like, oh, you know, I never got that in orientation or whatever the priesthood version is. Like, I never got the intro packet. I don't know what this is supposed to, I would love an example. And then I will write it to the example with still leaving out the Tiyune nixed details, but like trying to make it good.
When Riley starts talking about that, Hillian will be like, "Oh yeah, that's form XYZ9." Like, Hillian knows what form it is.
Perfect. So yeah, he would sit down and just show you a previous report of, you know, one of the healer priests that came through, and an accident that happened, and how they managed to save someone who was exposed to one of the war moth weapon things, and the person survived, but the kind of work they had to do. And just the level of detail they put in is enough to know what's going on, and in particular is enough that the Aeon priesthood is going to be content with. So any mention of artifacts or ciphers and no details is going to be something where it's going to hold you up no matter what. But
Can I
go ahead?
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, can I roll intelligence to write a convincing thing that we just like found it by a tree? Because I don't care about directing them in the area, or not by a tree, but like I want to write a decepting thing where like, hey, here's all the details about this field that we went to where we found this piece of Numenera.
Sure, you can do so. It's going to be a DC, let's say 5, So even trained people often fail, and y'all have been, rolling rocks. It's amazing. So I don't know that that's impossible for you. Go ahead and try and write it.
My social skills count because I know how people work.
No, this is report writing for a bureaucracy.
Ugh, gross. Cool, I'll apply effort. Yeah, that didn't work. I rolled a 5.
No, yeah. So he's gonna take your newly written reports and he's gonna send them off. And he'll invite Hillian and Railu and Tiyune, but not expecting you to come, to where the far speaker is and show you how it works. And it's got sort of like a view screen scanner section where they just put the reports up and then there's a flash and the report is actually gone from their hand. And they just do this for each page of whatever you do. They're like, well, now it's just waiting. It'll probably be about 2 days because you're not their only people. And I mean, we may get a request for more details sooner. And they sort of look at Railu, and then each of you in turn throws their hand up and say, you're welcome to stay here. I have some spare bedrooms. Alternately, there are some fairly decent hostels all over the place. I can direct you to one that might be more to your liking than being at a priesthood space, as he looks directly at Tiyune. I mean, and you can tell he's genuine. He's really just recognizing your discomfort with the space and making sure you have whatever options you need. Like, they're like, my job here is to communicate the stuff, and your job is to bring me the stuff to communicate. I have no horse in this race. If you want to be vague, you can deal with the consequences of being vague.
Tiyune definitely would have gone to see how the far speaker works, because the reason she handed over the vague version of the report is because she handed it over to Hegrprud's partner. So
perfectly
while he's talking about all of this, she's like, that's fine. I want to tell you what's going on with my friend here. First, can you make him some food, if you don't mind?
I'm happy to.
With mushrooms, please.
I am not the cook my husband is, but I can...
Here, use these spices. And she hands him the bag of spices that she bought earlier.
Some pho ready that, they had on... And so they just had to get the noodles and stuff in, and they actually bring out 4 bowls of pho on a tray, and they sit down, and they offer, utensils to everyone, and, it's mostly chopsticks, of course, but they have... And spoons, but they have everything you might need, and they sit down and say, it's lunchtime anyway, so it's a late lunch, but feel free to sit down and let's talk over food. Yeah, they set it up at a table and sit you down in a very comfortable space.
Tiyune eats some of her food, but she's gonna wait for Hillian to finish his and then dump her leftovers into his bowl so that he'll keep eating.
Hillian's finished with this bowl in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
That sounds super messy, is all I'm gonna say. It's like splash.
Well, maybe not dump the leftovers on, maybe just pass her bowl over.
I was more thinking Hillian finishing that in 5 minutes. Bowl takes a while, and that's a lot.
Well, oddly enough, there is no splatter.
Hillian took out their own straw.
Yeah, Hillian is fastidious enough, and is like his obsession with food that he probably won't waste any.
Cool. Okay.
And as soon as Gesten has eaten enough that she doesn't feel bad interrupting his lunch, sort of nods away from the table and gets up and walks over to the other side of the room, where at least she's not directly in Hillian's line of sight while he's finishing his food, and she'll also set more snacks on the table for him to kind of distract him once he's done with his pho.
I love that at no point does it enter Tiyune's mind to ask Railu to entertain Hillian so nothing happens. Tiyune's like, just eat all the snacks. Just eat all the snacks. And Railu is like, I'm surprised that she's not like, you have snacks too, because just as unreliable. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Tiyune has already tried to rely on Railu for things and knows that that's not an option.
So valid. You ever met a 17-year-old that's reliable? I haven't.
So it has crossed her mind to do it, and she was like, no, because I want to keep Hillian alive.
Ryler's enjoying lunch, so...
Yeah, and there is a small library if Riley wants to look around and see what they find. You have the run of the space. This person is not... This floor, at least, is not their private quarters. It's kind of the office and meeting area and eating space. And so they're just... Be free to look around, do whatever you want. And so they go off with Tiyune, and... the eating space is actually really cool because you come in and then off to the left away from the pantry and everything, it's that sort of 70s style, like 2 steps sunk down, and then there's a fireplace and it's all cushions to kneel on or sit down on, and this table, and yeah. So it's kind of a cool space, and you have to go up a couple stairs and continue going left, and then there's this little alcove area. Where you can have a mostly private conversation, but you can still see everything that's going on in the room. So what's the deal there?
How would Tiyune know how like typical a condition like Howls at the Moon is in the Ninth World?
Roll an int check. Yeah. 14. Yeah, you'd be like, it's not the most common thing.
But not like unheard of.
Yeah, well, especially for the Aeon Priesthood. Like, you would know the Aeon Priesthood would have collected information on this situation from people, and you would know that, well, I don't know if you would know this may be your first, like, a real away mission sort of thing here, but he will be getting a brief overview of all of you when he gets the response back, especially with the details you sent. He's going to get an overview on all of you and instructions on, we need more damn details. So,
I mean, Tiyune is planning to send more details, but she didn't want to send it through Gesten.
no, I totally get it. I'm just saying Gesten's going to get this information and going to know more. And they will definitely tell Gesten about the Howls at the Moon, the timing. But he does not know now.
Okay, so then basically Tiyune is just going to tell him, like, the reason that my friend is tied to me, he is very easily distracted, especially around this time of the moon cycle. He is getting ready to go into his transformation, and I'm hoping that you can help us find a safe place to keep him during that time, because our plan was just to come check in with you, send in our reports, call for backup, and then go back out of the city to make sure he doesn't accidentally hurt anyone. But if there's someplace in the city we can keep him where he'd be safe and cared for and we could get him food, then I would prefer to stay inside the city walls.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got a couple options here. We do actually have a space specifically for that here. And I can show it to you in just a moment. There's also, if you want to go outside, that seems unadvisable to me, only because there's so many things out there. Howls at the Moon can be pretty loud.
That's why I thought I'd rather stay inside the city.
Yeah, and as you say, your friend is fairly distractible. I would assume in their other form that all they're thinking of doing is hunting. Loud and crashing through the forest trying to find something to eat, and you following them so that when they transform back, you can bring them back here, is a lot of danger for yourself and your friend. I do have a few options. And so they'll actually take you further back, and there is a stairwell down that has a set of 3 locks on it that he pulls out almost like a set of brass knuckles, and there are symbols on each of the 4 knuckle spaces, and he puts them into the locks, and once they're in, they sort of glow, and the locks turn to unlock and open. And he puts the brass knuckle thing back in his pouch, and he opens it. There's a stairway down into cage sort of space. And in the cage space, there's all kinds of restraint sort of setups for different types of creatures. It looks like Howls at the Moon is not something that he's unfamiliar with. He says, well, we've obviously had this several times before. With being a healing order, our priests constantly, run into people, especially out here, because Howls at the Moon is a condition that, people, they tend to be as far away from people as possible, and we're kind of isolated. So around here you find people with this condition sometimes. So this was one from someone who turned into a ravaged bear, and then here's one who turned into some sort of dog thing, and these are just the binders that we have that sort of fit them. What does your friend do?
Well,
Don't say.
do you have anything? What?
Don't actually say, because I think
Oh, I wasn't going to. No.
cool.
No. That's no.
Cool.
That's not really any of his business right now, anyway. Well, do you have anything that's less cruel than this? We don't need to restrain him. We just need to keep him,
No,
stop him from hurting anyone.
I apologize. The restraints are for if you don't want to leave him here and instead want to go somewhere and restrain him safely wherever you choose to go.
Okay.
Otherwise, there's like a cot that is obviously sturdy material of some sort, and it's just a camping cot. There's nothing special about it. It's just a place to lay down or until it's time for the transformation, and then it won't get torn up when they are transformed. But I mean, it's not a hotel. It's just a place where they're locked for safety for the transformation period and then released.
Okay. And would you allow us to use this for Hillian?
Of course. Absolutely, of course. It's really just whether Hillian wants to, and you all can convince them. But and if you're comfortable with them being here, there are 2 rooms upstairs if you would wish to stay here.
Okay, I think this will work. We'll need to find some sort of livestock trader to buy some animals for him to eat while he's down here, if you're all right with that.
Oh, we can make that happen. Sure.
Okay.
And I can take care of that. I mean, it's obviously the priesthood will cover these costs when you're here, because there's no reason for you to when we've sent you off on mission.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all I needed. As long as we can keep him inside these quarters until tomorrow night, we can get him down here, and I think we'll be fine.
Okay. So, yeah, they lead you back out, and, they're like, so it sounds like Tiyune would like for you all to stay here for the next few days. Do you have any other special needs that I can help you with, or you want to, search the city? What do you want to do while you're here?
So many more of these mushrooms. They are divine.
I mean, Tuna's entire plan is to not leave Hillian's side and to make sure that now he does not leave this building.
Okay. That's fine. Do you want to maybe write up another version of your reports to send out so that it saves everyone some time, or?
I would love to know who I could contact, or who I should contact in town about putting on a performance on the upper levels. Is there like a performers guild? Is there someone you need to check in with?
Yeah. There's if you want to go to the upper level, there's someone named Milenik who can probably help you. They do handle a lot of the street performers. They're also, if you just want to be careful, because they do have a reputation for some less than honest work. They're probably a criminal on some level. But they do handle, the street buskers. So, as long as you are very clear with your understanding of what you're doing and have your weapons handy, I think you should be just fine.
Thank you. I'd love to pick your mind about some shops and some things about the priesthood later, but it's been a very long day.
Absolutely. Anyone else? No? Very well. Rooms are up here. It looks like you can bunk up however you want, and if you need anything, I'm available. They make sure that they point to the pantry and tell Hillian, please just leave enough for the rest of us in the morning.
Okay.
Before we go to sleep, Tiyune does actually want to do one last thing.
What's that?
Which is that she actually did have another report that has everything, because she does know how the Aeon priesthood works.
Okay.
But once she realized that Gesten was going to be the one sending it, didn't want to send it through him because she doesn't know him.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as Gesten is like out of the way, she'll go back to the Far Speaker after seeing how it works and send her actual report, which has basically all the information but from her perspective. So that between like Railu's enthusiasm and the townspeople's like extreme desire to get fixed, it was their understanding that like we were making a promise that we were not making, that we went and found the that like sunken city and tried to block the entrance to it, but we found the piece of Numenera that our understanding of it was that it would just like kill everyone basically, which is why as we knew that as long as we didn't touch it, it should be fine. So which is why like Tiyune got a night of sleep before trying to get it out of the village, was stopped on the way out. They tried to kill all of us, like tells them like everything again, just from her perspective of it. And then including the information that like they met Hegrprud on the road, who then stole that piece of Numenera, and will end up with like, it is my suspicion that he will be dead before you can get there to try to help him. And that probably that entire village will have been decimated before anyone can get back. If you want to send someone else, that's on you. That's all you. But I'm not going back to Jordan.
I think this is really funny because I also planned on sending a different one. So I doubt we meet at the same time because that'd be too perfect. But Railu is indebted to the priesthood, so needs to do their due diligence and prove to them like, hey, I'm good, let me go. So they also have one from their perspective.
Awesome. Why don't you say what your report's going to say, and then we'll pick up next time with you all waking up in the morning.
So Railu's perspective is they got to this town. They had we had all talked to them, telling them that we're gonna do our best to solve this. We are from the priesthood. That is like basically indoctrinating of the priesthood, because that is our job. So like, hey, we're from the priesthood. We're gonna do our best to help you. We're gonna try to solve this thing. That's what we're here to do. Because that's what we told our mission was, And then so we went, we talked to the parents. I got information from the parents. Went the whole tree thing. That's going to be in as detail as Railu can explain, because they don't know Numenera. So and then Tiyune made this thing happen. I mean, that's what they know. So we did the whole thing. We got back. Tiyune left. Did Tiyune tell us that she was confronted by the person?
Yeah.
Okay. Railu will very much emphasize how creepy and power hungry the village leader is at Elole. The Elole must have ran into Tiyune. Actually, I guess the priesthood probably wouldn't want not details that I don't know. So I would just tell him I woke up. We were trapped in this thing. We fought our way out. We did have to knock out the village elder on the way out in order to escape with our livelihood. And then we went into the forest, and the whole thing
Cool.
That whole thing lines up exactly with Tiyune's.
Okay, sounds great. Both of you do an int roll to see if you can figure out how this machine works.
Oh, God.
And it is actually going to be also a difficulty 5. Oh, yeah. Tiyune knocks that right out of the park with a 17. So not even dealing with the effort and everything applied. So Tiyune is able to send their report, no problem.
Is it a 6 for me because I have troubles with Numenera?
Yes.
Can it be a 5 because he showed me how to use it?
He didn't show you how to use it. He just did it in front of you.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I can't send my report. I got a 4.
Yeah.
If that happens, I just slip it underneath that dude's door. I just don't want Tiyune to know. I wasn't hiding it from the guy. I was hiding it from Tiyune.
Fair enough. You were just unable to send it off. You slide it under his door, and off to bed you go. Yeah, super fun. I'm excited that we are now at the point where, we are past traveling and you all are moving into what's going to happen in the city of Ephremon. So, good job, everyone. This was really fun for me. I'm sorry that we went late, but I really was enjoying this new interaction for you all. So, I'm Kelrick. I am the narrator for this story. I'm really enjoying it. I love everyone on the show, and I'm really looking forward to what comes next. I can't remember what else I say on sign off.
Pronouns, Twitter.
Twitter. What did you say, Jess?
I said pronouns, but ignore me.
What?
I just said where to find you, which is Twitter, basically.
Yeah. Okay. You can find me on Twitter at Cormallon, that's CORMALLON, and at EQ Points. I monitor both of those. And why don't you take it away, Jess?
I'm Jess. You can find me on Twitter at WriteJessR, WRITEJESSR. And you can find all of the various podcasts and streams and all the things that I do on my website, writejess.com, WRITEJESS.com.
Hey, I'm Aaron. You can find me at Space Persona on Twitter and hopefully at Geek Girl Con this November. We'll see.
And I'm Kenny. You can find me on Twitter at PunderDrone. I play with Kelrick on the Starfinder game, which we stream every other Saturday. Come join us this upcoming Saturday. That's not going to be a thing because I don't know when this is coming out. So just follow us on at EQ Points to find out when our schedule is.
Why don't you just redo that and I will cut that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Hi, my name is Kenny. You can find me on Twitter at PunderDrone. I also DM our Starfinder game that we stream every other Saturday on Twitch. If you want to find out what our streaming schedule is, please follow us on Twitter at EQ Points.
And thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next time as the adventure in the city of Ephremon starts to take shape. Bye! So waving is not going to help people on the podcast, but that's okay. I'm just going to stop recording.
Thank you so much for listening to Qmenera, an Experience Points podcast. Are your ears burning for another podcast? We cannot recommend enough checking out our sister podcast, Roll to Fail. There are 6 friends who have no business behind the mic, or even rolling dice. If you like what we create, then you should check out our other 2 podcasts on our network. The original Experience Points podcast is a Starfinder game that releases every Wednesday. Stay up to date on all 3 Experience Points Network podcasts at EQ Points on Twitter and on experiencepoints.com. Pardon our dust as I continue updates on the website.
Hey there, my name is Sophie Last Name Redacted.
My name is Mara Sunshine.
My name is Joe Alias.
If you're like us, you love fantasy, sci-fi, and all other forms of fiction.
Also, if you're like us,
You can't stand that the entirety of those genres get dominated by incredibly boring and interchangeable cis.
White,
abled,
straight,
male protagonists.
Stories like that just weren't relatable to us.
So we started making our own.
come join us at Dungeons & Queers, a podcast where we play tabletop RPGs like D&D and Interstitial.
And focus on creating stories with diverse characterization and good representation of marginalized groups.
We try to tell serious stories in a lighthearted way, focusing on themes like overcoming loss,
Finding your true family,
And subverting your fascist government at every opportunity.
Find Dungeons & Queers wherever you listen to podcasts, if you're interested in hearing stories about people like you.